Right. Hello, folks. I'm trying something new today. There should be captions enabled somewhere on the live stream. It's a plugin for OBS that I've set up that should be coming through on Twitch. So if you're able to check your player settings, you should be able to enable captions. And I hope it works. I hope it handles my weird South African accent. Today I'm doing multiple things at the same time. I'm having lunch. I'm still eating my lunch, so please bear with me if I fill my face with food in a minute. Running a little bit late today. I'm also going to be fiddling around with my multi-site network today, which I've just reinstalled because it didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. Anyway. So I've got my multi-site and I've got one site on the multi-site. And today I'm going to be looking at developing for multi-site. So what are the things that you need to be aware of when creating plugins or themes or customizing your sites or your multi-site installs or whatever the case may be. And there's a host of things that I guess one needs to be aware of in a multi-site environment. What I'm going to be doing is there's this at the bottom of the create a network developer documentation page. Right at the bottom somewhere, there is a link to how to adapt my plugin to multi-site, and that takes you through to a Stack Overflow page from, excuse me, live sneeze on live workstream, live stream, from about 10 years ago, talking about best practices, workflows, functions, pitfalls that one needs to follow, avoid, adapt in order to upgrade their plugins to support a multi-site install. And I've had some experience with developing for multi-site in the past, mostly around two areas. The one was building a child theme for a multi-site network that needed to do certain functionality depending on which subsite it was installed on. And that's pretty easy to tackle. The other one was specifically just around a plugin that I'd built, and folks asking if the plugin was multi-site compatible, which at the time I just didn't have the time to get around to testing. So I think I installed it on a multi-site and just verified that everything worked and just said, to the best of my knowledge, yes, it's multi-site compatible. So we're going to be kind of diving into that today. I'm going to be looking through the Stack Overflow response and just kind of having a look at some of the things there. For my workshop in 2 weeks' time, because normally I have my workshop on a Thursday. This week, Thursday, I will be on leave for a couple of days, so I'm having that workshop in 2 weeks' time. So if you're here for the live stream, great. If you're here to listen to what I'm going to do for the workshop, that'll happen in 2 weeks. But for now, I'm going to go through this document here and just kind of read what it talks about. So including and enqueuing and including, plugin path and URL are the same. So that's something worth noting. Your plugin path is going to be your plugin path wherever it's installed on the multi-site install, because the multi-site shares the same structure. So that's going to be the same. Upload paths, as this person says, WordPress would take care of this. And I've covered that in the past. Then there's this commonly used snippet to iterate through all blogs. So you can get the blog ID from WP Blogs, where site ID equals the current site ID, and spam is 0, deleted is 0, and archived is 0. I've just realized something. Because of that, let's have a look at something here quickly. So it's from blogs. So if we look at blogs, there we go. There's archived, mature, spam, deleted. I've just realized that a video that I recorded yesterday is actually slightly factually incorrect. So I'm going to make a note of this very quickly. Note to self, site statuses are Boolean columns in the logs table. That's fine. I can just overwrite the audio for that one. Okay. So this is an interesting bit of functionality. You can do something called switch to blog. So this might be something useful to look at. So you can actually do something on another blog. Switch as the current blog. If you need to pull posts or other information from other blogs, you can switch back afterwards using restore current blog. So I wonder if that's useful to So this is a way to get data from another blog. Restore current blog is used instead of switch to blog, original blog ID, but here's why switch is more reliable. Through 2 or more blogs, is there any reason not to use at the end of the loop to switch rather than restore? After every switch, you need to call restore current blog, otherwise WordPress will think it's in switch mode and place restore current blog. Okay. Now this is interesting. Interesting. Okay, so that's maybe something to dive into. Switching between blogs. Yes, I do upload these to YouTube. You can find them on my personal account, which is YouTube at John_Bossinger. I usually upload them. Looks like I haven't published a few. I usually upload them a couple of days afterwards, but it looks like I haven't published a few, so I might need to fix that. But yes, I usually do upload them to YouTube on my YouTube profile. I'm going to now take this offside and see why some of my more recent ones are not published. Oh, it's just the one on the April the 21st that I didn't publish for some reason. So let's make that public. There we go. Done. So let's go back to my channel. There we go. For some reason I seem to be missing one or two. Not quite sure why. I'll have to figure that out. But yes, they do generally get uploaded to YouTube, although I don't know how beneficial that'll be. It's usually me just rambling and like I'm about to blowing my nose. I might just edit that out. What I've started doing is editing out some bloopers and things. Just because. All right. I'm not that great at the whole YouTube thing, I'll be honest. All right, let's see here. Okay, so there's this. I mean, we can chat about switch to blog. We can chat about I'm trying to think of a good use case. I mean, you might want to pull some posts from one blog to the other. So maybe that's worth playing with. How to I mean, one way you could do that is you create something that renders content from another blog. I can't think of a use case right now. This is me trying to think of a use case for why you would switch to blog and then maybe yeah, updating an option is something. Maybe if you want one site to affect another site somehow. Anyway, I'll come back to that. I'm going to make a note here and say this depends on how you're using multi-site. Okay, so I'm going to just make a note of that. Then there's the blog ID. So there's this global blog ID, but as far as I know, there is also a get blog ID. Get blog or get current blog or something. Yeah, get current blog ID. That's the one. So that'll give you the current site ID. So that's actually useful if you want to do something on a per blog basis. So, for example, okay, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, in my site, I'm going to work with, I'm trying to remember which plugin it was. One of these plugins I was working on had a form. There's the subscribe form. It might have been the plugin security one, which is probably a good, yeah. So it's got an admin page and a few other things, yeah. So that's great. And what I want to do, all right. So let's go. That one. Okay, so that's 102. All right, so that's a nice plugin to play with. Okay, so it's going to create form submissions table. All right. So let us. So here is our. There. Okay, I want to network activate this plugin now. It's the same page. Okay, so that's network activated. And it creates form submissions. So that's something interesting to be aware of. Register activation hook. See something here about multi-site. Restrict network visitors to the main site only. Consider better hooks or functions allow plugins to detect the situation in which the plugin is being activated or deactivated. Okay. See, that's the problem with live stream, folks. I'm just me sitting reading stuff. I just want to see what this proper network activation story is. Come on. Okay. Let's eat something. So it looks like there's this network-wide option. So let me verify that. The table's probably still going to be there, which is fine. So this was some Copilot generated code. Okay. So let's see what that does. Okay. Okay. So it's created the first one and then it's created the second one. Okay. So that's a good point to note. This network-wide option on plugin activation. And that's where the blog IDs come in handy. So there's a perfect example. All right. So then let's take let's start by updating. So we're going to work with the WP Learn plugin security plugin. We're going to adapt that for multi-site. For a multi-site install. Hopefully this will give us enough information of what we need. So let's go task. Okay, so then we say step 1, update the activation hook for multi-site so that it installs the table for each site on the network. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, switch this back to what it was, just pop that down there, and then take out the old code. Okay, and now what's nice about this is that we'll notice that if it's not multi-site and it's not being network enabled, it'll just run the create table. Otherwise, it'll loop through the blogs. And run create table. Okay, that's very cool. So let's take that in. And we'll leave these notes at the bottom here. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these notes as multiple comments. Okay, so that gives me all of that. Right, so that creates the table. Assets, I believe, will be the same, which is fine. But now we need to think about the form shortcode will probably still work. However, we need to insert into the right table. So step 2. Ensure the data is being inserted to the right table. So probably if I have a look at this code up over here, so let's edit this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link the relevant blog and still current blog. And here we can do the get current blog ID. My light just did something weird, don't know why. Oops, I'm saying my light today. Okay, so then what we would need to do now, I saw an example of this in one of these somewhere where you can actually okay, so let me. So the shortcode will probably still be fine. The processing of the form will be the problem. That should all still be fine. This would be different. So here we will need to say blog ID or site ID. Site ID equals get current blog ID. And then the table name will be WP prefix So it's the prefix and then 2 underscore. Site ID. And then that. So that should work. This should then work. Okay, here we're going to have a problem because our pages aren't going to work. Or maybe they will if we create them on each site. So let's try that. Okay, so let's create those pages. Let's go to sites. Let's go to the main site. No, I'm going to go to the dashboard. And I'm going to create the success page. Successfully created on WordPress. Okay, so that worked. And the other one was form error page. Form error on WordPress. I might need to change my permalinks to be post name. Oh, you see, this is interesting. This is something to note. When you're running a subdirectory install, your main site gets the URL blog attached to it. I came across this recently. Where was that? Network settings. Somewhere along the line I came across this. Oh, this is bugging me now. I came across this recently. Is it here? I don't know where it was, but I came across this recently, so it's worth noting. So I'm going to make a note of that right at the top here somewhere.
Too much left to give, burning every bridge I'm building. Don't know who that is, but she won't let you out once you're in. Fingers in my mouth, didn't hear a sound. I got nothing left now. Raise it to the ground, so you won't feel too much left to give. Burning every bridge I'm building.
Try and see if I can find this in the documentation. I can't remember now where I saw this. Yeah.
Losing every lie I'm finding. Don't know how to begin, 'cause everywhere I look I'm blind.
Main site there. There we go. Permalinks and subfolder installs.
Fingers in my mouth, didn't hear a sound. I've got nothing left now. Raise it to the ground, so you won't feel too much left to give. Burning every bridge I'm building. This mark won't fall for that. I know what you're feeling. You lost your glowing beauty. Only I can free it. Nothing left to give if you still it with me. Should've run a spin without you to grip me.
Okay.
You lost your glowing beauty, and only I can see it. Don't look around.
So that's what my permalink structure is. That.
I'm all yours now.
So now I wonder. Okay, the pages are the same way. That's fine. Okay, so let's created the form page. Doing a post. I did it in a post, that's why. Silly way. Pages. Add new. Form error page. Publish that. That's form error page. Okay, so that works. So those pages are created. Great. Then let's switch to Bob's site. And let's create form success page. I want to see what happens here. Okay, this will also be Bob and it'll also be form success page. So I wonder if this will work. Let's see. Let's go add a new page. Form error on. Okay. Form error page. Okay, so those pages are now there. Okay. So theoretically, that should still work. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Should probably make a note here that uninstalling registering a deactivation hook will do the same thing. But anyway, I'll leave that for now. I'll just delete them manually. Okay. So theoretically, that should all work. Okay, so let's see what happens. So if I go into Network Admin Dashboard, go to Plugins, the plugin is network activated. So if I go into the main site and I activate, it's network active, so that's fine. So I shouldn't need to change anything there. Go to Bob's site. That's active. Okay. So now, if I submit the form shortcode on one site, let's see what happens. Let's do it on the sample page. Okay. So that's on the WordPress site. So let's go back to the multipress site, or at least the main site. Let's change the page there. There. This. It's slightly different. Okay, so that's that. All right. So now, going to log out. Going to go to the site. To go to the form page. Okay, so now this one I'm going to go Jonathan, and I'm going to go jonathan@gmail.com. I'm going to submit that. Okay, that threw an error. So I've got my debugging on, so let's see what the error was. This is all that stuff. Okay. Okay. So that is because I'm getting the blog ID 1. So probably what we should do, I wonder if there's a correct way to do this. Where was that? Network, new blog, sign up, blogs, manage, dashboard, network. Is multi-site, is main site. So that's handy to look at. So we can use that. Okay, so we can update the plugin to say so what we can do is we can say if is main site, then the table name is just that, else get the blog ID. There we go. Okay, so it'll only get the blog ID if it isn't the main site, and attempt to submit it in that instance. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, before we do that, let me clear out my debug log. Because that's all old stuff. Okay. So this should work. Okay, so that should work. So this should go to form submissions. There it is. Okay, excellent. And that redirected perfectly. Okay, great. And then let's go to old Bobo. And then we'll submit bob@gmail.com. Form error on WordPress. Okay, let's see what happened there. Okay. 105, 109. Okay, illegal offset class on line 105. Okay, I think that's this issue here. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like it works it out for you. Okay, I didn't know that. So it looks like I didn't need to worry about all of this. So that's kind of cool. So because I'm using the prefix, it looks like I don't need to worry about it. All right, let's try that again. Let's go to bob@gmail.com. Okay, that was successful. Browse here. Didn't get submitted there. Got submitted there. Okay, that's cool. So that means if you're using the prefix on WPDB, it's always going to work out which site you're working with. So let's make a note of that. So the only change we had to make, no, we didn't have to make a change. Because we created the right tables, we didn't have to make a change. That's awesome. Okay. Because we're using prefix, the WordPress database object will determine the correct prefix and submit the data to the right table. However, this is why we should create the correct tables for the content, which we did in the earlier step. Oh, that's great. Okay, learned something there. Very cool. All right. Then the last thing is, let's see, and the redirection worked as well. This is very cool. Note that the redirection worked as well. WordPress will work correct site URL and the page slugs. So that's very cool. All right, then let's start logging into places. So I want to see what happens now when I log into and have a look at the Learn Admin page. So there I'm seeing, so let's just go to the Network Admin dashboard. Okay, so I won't see the Network Admin dashboard. If I go to the WordPress dashboard, I will see the Learn Admin and I will see the right data. And what happens if I go into Bob's site? And I go there and it shows me the right data. And again, that's because I have used the right table data. So when I call from the prefix and I select, it returns the correct results. So that's kind of cool. And if I delete things, things should get deleted correctly. So let's log out and go back to Bob and create another record. And that. And then let's actually log into Bob's site as the admin, just for the sake of doing fun things here. Bob and password. Oh, I don't think I created. Okay, let's log in as the admin. Running out of time, but that's okay. It's gonna be quick. Oh, didn't I? There it is. Okay, and then log on as Bob. Now this is ID 1 if you're not mistaken. So let's make sure it just deletes that one. Oops, we should delete it. It's deleted that one. There's Jane. If we go to the first one, there's Jonathan. That's all working. So the main thing was making sure that we created the right tables, and then everything else just works. So that was the only real change to make. So what I think I need to do is I need to break down different things in there. So I think we'll work around that. I think what I'll do is I'll make a note of things like get current blog ID early on and some of this content, some of these notes. If we're in the network admin, do certain things. This doesn't seem to necessarily be needed anymore. Network admin menu is something that's interesting. So this is if you want to add things to the admin menu. But I think we've got enough for the workshop. Cool. I think that's enough for today. I think that's covered quite a bit. Quite like it. I might do a child theme example. So I might do something like create a child theme that loads a different style sheet on a per sub-site basis. Maybe by the ID, you know, if it's ID 1, do this, if it's ID 2, do that. So I'm going to do that and that. I'm going to leave a note for that. I'll come back to that later. I think what I might do is I might talk about some additional so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say do that, and then I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to include some of these functions like switch to blog, restore current blog. So we'll say get current blog ID, switch to blog, restore current blog, and then we can actually dive into that conversation about what they were talking about in there. What else? Is multi-site is a useful one to be aware of, and is main site, and is super admin. I think it's just useful to maybe go over all of these hooks and functions. I'll run through them and check. But yeah, okay, I'm going to leave that for that. Say task. Create a child theme that can be used on multiple subsets. I'll figure that one out later. Okay. The other thing I do want to do, I'm going to make a note of this now, but there was one thing that I wanted to do, and that was task. Make a change to the WP admin on a per site basis. So what I'm talking about there is I want to take something like maybe maybe we can do it on this page and style it. Do something with it. I'll figure that out. Still got some time. But that's going to be me. I think I've got enough. Plus we're out of time. So if you're still around, thanks for joining me. Otherwise, I am going to go and finish my lunch and get on with the rest of my day. Cheers.